On the news tonight, Nigeria and UK join forces on security. NSCDC deploys operatives nationwide ahead of Eid Fitr celebration as Nigerians make last-minute preparations. Cooking gas price hike hits Nigerians hard. Good evening and welcome to the news desk at 7, coming to you from your Heritage Station. I am Fatima Hassan and thank you for joining us today. Nigeria and Britain have forged robust security ties through a comprehensive strategic partnership with counter-terrorism and disruption of terrorism financing at its core. The partnership emphasizes intelligence sharing, capacity building, and regional leadership, positioning Nigeria as a key player in West African stability while leveraging British expertise in investigations and strategic communications. Musa Baba Aliyu reported that the ties will be further strengthened during the President's state visit to the United Kingdom. The report.
In August 2018, former British Prime Minister Theresa May arrived in Nigeria on a landmark state visit. She was the last Prime Minister who visited the country in recent times. That visit laid crucial groundwork forging a strategic partnership in vital areas: counter-terrorism, combating the financing of terrorism, money laundering, and anti-corruption efforts. Fast forward to July 2025. In a significant milestone, the two nations convened for high-level dialogue under their security and defense partnership. Both reaffirmed comprehensive whole-of-government approach to defeating terrorism. The United Kingdom pledged concrete support helping Nigeria update its national counter-terrorism strategy and transforming the National Counter-Terrorism Center into a regional center of excellence. This includes specialized training delivered by the Joint Counter-Terrorism Training and Advisory Team, strengthened aviation and border security at key airports and non-kinetic programs. Terrorism financing has remained a top priority. The UK has repeatedly commended Nigeria's rapid progress in aligning with the standards of the Financial Action Task Force.
And we have countries from Vietnam, Iraq, Nigeria, as well as our nearest neighbours across Europe, France, Germany, and countries like the US and China, all facing real challenges from criminal gangs that try to exploit our borders in order to make huge profits, but agreeing today new law enforcement cooperation, intelligence sharing to go after these vile criminal gangs and to tackle this terrible trade in human beings.
In October 2025, that hard work paid off. Nigeria was removed from the grey list following sustained improvement in financial intelligence dissemination, investigations, prosecutions, and asset recovery. In January 2026, following a memorandum of understanding, Justice Attorney General Mark Temple facilitated the return of more than $9.5 million in looted funds to Nigeria. Musa Baba Aliyu, NTA News.
Emotions run high as widows and children of fallen police officers break down in tears, receiving long-awaited financial support from the Nigerian Police Force. Francis Form files in the report.
Tears flow freely. Grief meets relief, and for many families, a painful chapter finds a measure of closure. At the check presentation ceremony, widows clutch documents with trembling hands, some weeping tears, others holding on to their children, the only reminder of loved ones lost in service to the nation. A total of 1,075 beneficiaries' families of officers who paid the ultimate price received checks worth over 2.4 billion naira under the Group Life Assurance and IGP welfare schemes. For years, many of these families endured hardship, waiting for support that seemed delayed. But today, hope arrives, not just as money, but as a recognition of service. The Inspector General of Police, Olatunji Disu, describes the moment as more than a payout, calling it a solemn tribute to courage, duty, and honor. He assures that under his leadership, welfare will remain a top priority, with plans to eliminate delays, improve transparency, and deploy technology to fast-track future claims.
Today's presentation therefore symbolizes our enduring obligation to stand by the families they left behind. It is an affirmation that the Nigerian Police Force remains committed to ensuring that the sacrifices of our personnel are recognized and that their loved ones are not forgotten.
The police boss also acknowledges long-standing insurance backlogs, noting that part of the funds disbursed includes recovered outstanding obligations. For the grieving families, however, no amount can replace their loss. The IGP extends condolences, reminding them that their loved ones were more than officers. They were pillars of homes and communities. Francis from NTA News.
May the fallen heroes rest in peace. The Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps has deployed over 53,500 operatives nationwide ahead of Eid al-Fitr to ensure a safe celebration. A statement by the Corps National Spokesperson, Afolabi Babawale, says all commands have been directed to secure prayer grounds, shopping malls, motor parks, and other public space. He adds that both uniformed and undercover personnel will intensify patrols in collaboration with other security agencies for rapid response. The Corps also urged the public to remain vigilant and report suspicious activities. As Muslims across the country prepare to celebrate Eid al-Fitr, markets are experiencing the usual last-minute rush, with shoppers scrambling to complete their purchases from food items to clothing and accessories. Our correspondent Akimat Aliyu captures the situation from a major market within the nation's capital. Here is the report.
The countdown to Salah is often marked by a surge of activities across major markets, and this year it is no different. I'm here at Wuse Market, one of the most popular markets within the Abuja metropolis, and the atmosphere here is vibrant and intense, with buyers moving from stall to stall, pricing and selecting items to be purchased for the celebration.
Came to collect my Salah clothes in the market.
Okay. So apart from Salah clothes, I'm sure you could do other shopping with mommy. Can you just be first?
We're just walking around looking for shoes, just preparing for Salah.
And how does it feel?
It feels good, Alhamdulillah.
I came to the market to get food items for Salah.
Okay.
But I can Salah in advance.
Okay, what about your clothes and all that?
Yes, I already sorted that one out. That is already sorted already.
Some decided to go for ready-to-wear dresses as they have been disappointed by their tailors, while others are still waiting to get their clothes from the tailors who blamed the situation on poor electricity supply.
We beg them. Some will get human feeling. They say, okay, no problem. But the one will not get human feeling, they say we must go police station.
Wallahi, we not even meet up, no white, no lights. We didn't have light. More than 2 weeks now, we didn't have light. So every day they buy fuel.
Away from the clothing and accessory sections, here at the food section is also witnessing high level of patronage. While the traders complained of low patronage, the chairman of the Traders Union explains that the level of patronage compared to previous years is different.
Nigerians are squeezed. There are no purchasing power to buy anything for Salah, and we who are in the market are not happy. Buying and selling is at the low ebb this season.
Despite the challenges, traders say the period remains one of their most profitable seasons as sales continues to climb in the hours leading to the celebration. From Wuse Market in Abuja, Hakimat Aliyu, NTA News.
In a related development, as preparation for Eid al-Fitr intensify, Nigerians are making last-minute travel plans to reunite with family and loved ones. Oyeyemi Ajayi brings us an update.
Jabi Motor Park, one of the busiest transit points in the Federal Capital Territory. During festive periods like this, the terminal is usually filled with travelers rushing to catch a ride home. But this year, the story appears different. The turnout of passengers is lower than expected, a situation many attribute to the rising cost of transportation. Sule Abednego, headed for Kwara State, says he has been waiting for more than 7 hours for the bus to fill up. He blames the delay on high fares, which he says many travelers can no longer afford.
we are only 4 passengers. Oh, yes.
Some passengers that came and left.
Yes, some came and left because of the transport. The distance is approximately like 12 hours. And now the way things are going on, and if we can start now, we may not meet up with the target. It will fall into night. That is it. Last year it was 15,000 I traveled from here.
George Olanrewaju, a passenger as well, says he may have to cancel the trip if the bus fails to get enough passengers. With only 3 people in the vehicle, meant for 12, he says the journey may not be worth the cost.
For me, it's due to the increase of the fuel price. It's fair because the last time I traveled, it was 8,000 naira, and today we are paying 9,000 naira.
We are not seeing people turning up to travel. People are not yet coming, but we don't know tomorrow. Maybe they will come up. But for now, you can see how our motor park dry because of the increase of the fuel.
The situation is similar at other transport hubs visited, including the Sunny Abacha terminus, where passengers also complained sharp increase in fares. For instance, a trip from Abuja to Kwara now cost about 35,000 naira, up from 20,000 last year. Abuja to Lagos has risen to 35,000 naira as well, while some eastern routes now cost 50,000 naira upwards. Oyeyemi Ajayi, NTA News.
Still on our English updates, we'll be going on a short break. Please stay with us.
Hello?
Grandpa, when are you coming to visit us?
Who is going to wake everybody up for Sahur if I leave? Don't worry, my son. I'll be fine. Hello? Who is going to wake everybody up for Sahur if I leave?
Mommy, we did not see Sauma today. Where's Sauma?
الذين آمنوا كتب عليكم الصيام كما كتب على الذين من قبلكم لعلكم تتقون
مرحبا بكم يا رمضان مرحبا بكم يا رمضان مرحبا بكم يا رمضان الحمد لله رب العالمين. Yes, it is here again, Ramadan 1447, AH 2026. Nta Ijebu Ode, the heritage station, is at it again to avail us the opportunity to maximize the abundant reward during the period through our packages such as Tafsiri, Call to Prayer, Station Live Show, Short Admonition, and lots more. For further enquiries, contact the marketing department, Nta Ijebu Ode, TV House, Eruwan Road, GRO Ijebu Ode, Ogun State, or call 080 28 36 48 01 or 080 29 41 1473. Ramadan 1447 AH. What a rewarding experience.
And thanks for joining us. Governor Ademola Adeleke has reaffirmed the support for President Bola Ahmed Tinubu for a second term, saying the ongoing political tensions in Osun State do not affect his stance. The governor's spokesperson, Olawale Rashid, made this known while addressing cabinet members and top government officials at the government house in Osogbo. Governor Adeleke described the president as a leader for the Southwest, therefore endorsing him for re-election is in the best interest of the region. He also commended the people of Osun State for their overwhelming support for the Accord Party since his alignment with it. Families in Abuja battling soaring cooking gas prices with the global energy shock charged by the US-Israel-Iran war affecting households and small businesses. Many people are struggling with difficult decisions, either to cut cooking times, reduce meals, shrink profits, revert to firewood or smoke-fueled stoves, and other alternative fuels. Lydia Sampson reports.
Philomena Okechukwu, a food vendor, balances her 6 kg cylinder like a calculator. She said she used to refill without thinking. Now, every visit to the gas plant means calculating money for school fees and food. This new reality is forcing a painful rethink of how she cooks, trades, and survives in an already challenging economy.
We used to buy 6 liters in a week, but now because of the cost of gas and the market have soared so much, we have to be buying just 2 liters.
For many, gas price hikes to about 1,350 to 1,500 per kilogram have turned the basic necessity into a luxury.
The price have really grown up. Like we buy the same price yesterday, today we buy another price, next tomorrow we are buying another price, and the price have increasing every day, and it's affecting everybody. Even business is affecting business, it's affecting the home too.
I was just cooking, my gas just finished. I had to leave everything, rush down to come and buy gas, and the price is something one cannot think about. In fact, I'm thinking of going back to charcoal.
This one still remains the best as a source of clean energy.
I hated cooking with firewood and charcoal because of the smoke getting into my eyes, inhaling it, and I know that medically it has ripple effects. So it's always been a welcome development for me to have cleaner cooking alternative like this LPG gas. Unfortunately, the high price now is sending many back to the old dreaded use of firewood and charcoal. The result is an obvious reversal of Nigeria's clean cooking gains, with more than 20 million households still relying on firewood and charcoal, and more joining them as LPG costs climb. Health workers warn that this shift means more smoke-related illnesses.
If we're considering the costs of maintaining our cooking session without thinking about the health implication, the money we want to save cannot save our health eventually if the complication arises.
Small restaurants and roadside food vendors say the jump has wiped out their margins, forcing them to either increase prices or reduce portions for customers already battling other expenses. Zeyanu Zakari, a student helping his mother sell firewood, says business is booming.
Sometimes there is business, sometimes there is not. Like this pieces one, we said 1,000.
These Nigerians are calling for government to escalate revival of gas plants to expand local LPG supply, while applauding past government efforts of distributing free and subsidized cylinders. They also want more support for vulnerable households with targeted interventions to keep cooking gas within reach. In Abuja, Lydia Sampson, NTA News.
For many residents, plastic waste is no longer just an environmental issue. It is daily reality. From flooded streets, blocked drainages to water bodies, the contamination by discarded plastics is devastating. In this special report, Charles Alpha tells the story of people living with the impact of plastic waste and why attention should begin to shift from problems to recycling and sustainable solutions as the world marks Global Recycling Day. The report.
This is not a refuse dump site, neither it is a plastic recycling yard. It is a water channel, and this water channel has been blocked by what you're seeing here. But the question is, when the rain comes, what happens?
They keep on pouring it here, but when we started quarreling with them or fighting with them, they now stop and go across and be pouring it down. When the rain fall, you now push it down to this way.
Blocked drainages, stagnant water, and when the rain comes, flooding that damages homes and livelihoods. Plastic waste often finds its way into farmlands and waterways and contaminating sources of water used for daily living. These materials can take hundreds of years to break down, leaving a lasting impact on the environment and life underwater.
Plastics accumulate in landfills, on spaces. They reduce soil fertility. They enter into our rivers, into our oceans. They harm marine ecosystem.
Some chemicals made in plastics are used to make plastics like phthalates and dysphyllon A have an implication on reproduction. That is to say, plastics can affect how we give birth, or they can cause deficiency in the children we give birth to.
According to sources, the world generates over 2 billion tons of plastic waste every year. Of this, more than 300 tons is plastic waste alone, with only about 9% recycled globally.
Plastic bottles, a typical product is fiber that you stuff inside the pillows, right? Another product from plastic bottle is even the bottle itself. So there is this thing called rPET, or bottle to bottle. Another product is ropes and threads, right, from plastic bottles. From nylons like pure water sachets, we produce fabric that you then use for school bags, for mats. Even my shoe actually is made from nylon.
Here, Nigeria generates about 32 million tons of waste every year, with only 20 to 40% collected properly, and around 2.5 million tons of these are plastics.
It is all because of the linear approach of consumption. We buy, we use, and we dispose. This process is highly inefficient, and this is now a global challenge, but also local challenge that requires urgent action.
To look at solutions from different angles. The ones that the government can do has to do with policies, behavioral.
Now we are for tonight on our English updates. Join us tomorrow for more interesting stories. Have a wonderful night rest.
Hello?
Grandpa, when are you coming to visit us?
Who is going to wake everybody up for sahur if I leave? Don't worry, my son. I will be fine. Hello? Who is going to wake everybody up for sahur if I leave?
Mommy, we did not see Sauma today. Where's Sauma?